All right, I think we're live.
Okay.
Yeah. Oop. Yeah. Hi. Oh, you're blocking. Oh, is that camera? There's the camera right there.
Hi, everyone. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. We're sorry. Now, let's hope you guys can hear us. Let us know if you can hear. Yes, it's working. Okay. See, this is the thing. I have this. You should see what we have right here. We have this fancy setup with like a mixer and everything. Oh, yeah. They don't have to see. They can't see. All right. We have a fancy setup, and the setup is like, it's like whatever. It's not working. So now this is the simplest and most easy thing ever. So we're just going to do the camera on the phone.
Yes.
And we're going to start over because you didn't hear Carrie's everything that Carrie said. So we're going to start over. So let's start now. Okay.
So, hi, everybody.
Hi.
I feel like this is all my best friends out there, by the way. Love you. This was my idea, and I ran it by Hanya because I said, one of the most wonderful aspects of doing yoga with Hanya is hearing her, her nuggets of wisdom and how she deals with the everyday struggles and what books she's reading and what podcasts she's listening to, and really just to absorb that. So I thought this would be a great platform for sort of getting some information that you might not get just in like a vinyasa class. And I was mulling around like, maybe we'll just talk about like, like a topic like attachment or, how we're dealing with, self-care, things like that. But I ended up going back to how I really just fell in love with this person, and all that she has to offer is, we went to the Women's March together in 2017. And we didn't know each other that well. We were friends, but we went with a bunch of women. Nobody really knew each other that well. And we had this great experience together. And then we spent the ride back doing the 32 questions to falling in love. And of course, I fell in love. And so I thought it'd be cool just to interview Hanya and be able to see her in a different format. So here she is.
Yay! Thank you for doing this and coming here. And by the way, we've COVIDed together.
Since March 18th, every day. I live in the street over, so
yeah, she lives around the corner, and literally, like, I had to get her up her street because she couldn't even get her car up her street. Anyway, we've been walking in the woods together for. Since COVID started last March. We were actually at a restaurant the night before we were on lockdown, and had a last hurrah. And then the next day we just started going on hikes, and we've been hiking ever since, like every day.
Every day.
So we spent the entire COVID together in the woods and learned a lot about each other, and even more than we learned with these questions. But those questions were fantastic. I had never done the 32 questions. If you ever have the chance to do it with a partner, with a friend, it's just a beautiful way to get to know somebody. And it was Carrie who, I just want to sing your praises because I love this girl so much. And she is like the most powerful light that you can feel it probably. She's probably radiating with the heat off of the fireplace is probably like hitting you guys.
And my hot tea.
Her hot tea. So, but anyway, she's a powerful force, and she basically, anytime she says, get in my car, get in my minivan, I get in her minivan and we go somewhere. We go to the Women's March in Washington. We go everywhere, to any march. We've been to a lot of marches in that minivan.
Yeah, we have.
And we've been to a lot of fun things too. So we've been all over the place. But anyway, I kind of follow her around because she's that powerful, I just go wherever she tells me to go because
I give her an idea, and I'll be like, just grab the phone and let's go live, and I come and there's like a whole set here, like lighting, like
which didn't work. It didn't work. It's better to go live. It's better your way is better. Anyway, let's get started.
Okay, all right. So my first question is, what brought you to yoga, becoming a yoga teacher, and sort of being, having your career be yoga?
Oh, that's a great. Okay, that's a good one right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I started doing yoga when I was in my 20s, and I remember actually, you guys have ever heard of Baron Baptiste? But he had started this studio in Cambridge, and it was a small little studio back then in the 90s. And it was a pretty cool studio, and I got to know Quayle and and Rolf Gates and like all these people, this whole entire group that came out of this little studio. And I used to go there a lot, and I really liked it, but it was something that I loved and came to for the physical practice, and then I thought it was really cleansing and felt good, but I didn't know more than that. And so it took me years later when I had kids to really feel really connected to yoga. And it happened for me after having my second kid, where I started going daily, or probably at least 4 to 5 times a week. And I was taking powerful classes 4 or 5 times a week, and it changed me from the inside out. And I went to it for the physical, like most people do, and I ended up staying for the mental and spiritual part of it, which keeps you. That's why it's been around for like 2,500 plus 5,000 years, you know. So that's kind of where I came to it. But then as I was taking these classes and going regularly, I had some friends that were doing it with me regularly, and all of a sudden they started doing teacher training, and I was like, wow, I could never be a teacher. And they were like, well, we're taking it, you should do it. And I was like, well, okay. So I decided to take it, and when I took the training, I decided I'm not going to teach, I just want to like deepen my practice, which is what everyone says when they go into teacher training. And then as soon as I started learning these tools, I was like, I got to share this stuff. This is good.
Yes.
So that's why I was like, I got to share it. So I went far away. I taught in Roslindale, like 25 minutes from my house, so I wouldn't know anybody because I was scared. And I taught there for a couple years, and then I started breaking my way back to Westwood.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then what made you decide to do sort of this online community?
Oh gosh. COVID.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, I never dreamed of doing this, and you're a big reason. Susan Clare was a big reason. Pam Quinn was a big reason. Our little COVID group that we walked with really kind of pushed me to do this, and you guys are the reason that I started it. You did it with me. You were my models. You were my inspiration, and we were able to create a community, and I still feel like you guys are right there with me. It's not me, and I don't like even saying my name all the time. I just want it to be a collective. So that's what it feels like to me. It feels, I like the community aspect of it. I don't want it to be about me. Like I want it to be about everybody. So. And
you are just sort of like hoping to get it out to people.
Oh, as many people
as you can.
Yes.
Because it's like, it's how do you get it out? People like to be able to go to a class, be able to go to one of your classes. Does it all fit in? And this is like an ability for anybody just to be able to be like play.
whenever they want.
Yeah.
And like live if they can, but if not, then just have it be something that you find for yourself and do for yourself. Create that space in your home somewhere, even if it's a closet. Like just create a little space.
Yeah, absolutely. So. All right. So my next question is, can you describe a time that you were struggling and yoga helped you in regard to your own personal struggle, like inside yourself?
I think one of the first things that comes to mind for me is when my father passed away in 2008. And when he died, I was practicing a whole lot. And yoga was a big reason why I was able to grieve in a way that felt healing to me. There was a point where he had suffered from a brain tumor and was slowly almost disintegrating in front of our eyes. Like it was a really hard thing to watch. But I think for me, what really helped me and healed me was the practice of non-attachment, which is a big part of the practice. It's a big part of the yoga practice. And that non-attachment allowed me to look at him and say, don't hold on for us. Let yourself go if you need to go. Like we're here, we love you, and we were able to be around him and actually give him that gift of saying, you can be free, and that was a really hard and beautiful moment, and one I'll never forget. So so anyway, the yoga practice in so many ways helped me grieve. It helped me deal with my family around and be patient with their grieving process, because everyone grieves in a different way. So that was really helpful. So it's just helpful. It's helpful in so many ways that I literally use in my daily life. So
with every sort of like thought going through, you're able to say, I have a space from that, right? And I can say and know that it's just a thought.
Yeah.
To help you regulate.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, so there's separation there. You can create that space. And it just gives you healing space, just healing space to be able to feel fully.
Yeah.
And then be able to heal fully. And hopefully fully, you know.
Yeah.
We're all healing all the time. If we're breathing, we're healing. So, yeah.
And with the body practice, it's like it actually
moves.
you make it actually like move, like leave your body, right?
Yeah.
It's like it gives you space to acknowledge it and then feel it, but then to release it too, right? Like
Totally.
That's like the surrender part.
Yeah, because we hold illness and we hold negativity and we hold stress and we hold all these things in our joints. We hold them tightly.
Yeah.
And when when we talk about Buddhist meditation, and when we talk about the Vedic texts and everything, when we talk about Chinese medicine, and we talk about the channels in the body and the idea that there's like winds going through us and this like energy, chi, channeling, like nadis, like there's all this like energy that goes through our bodies, and we are able to, when we go into a deeper practice, we're able to like really start to break those kind of holds in different parts of the body free, so we can let that energy flow, and that's when we feel more balanced and we feel more free. And it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. It's the release that we all need, right?
That's it. And it's like it's constantly happening. We're constantly bringing in and we're constantly letting go, and it's this constant movement of energy. So
what about with another person? Like, say if you're having some sort of struggle with another person, like how does yoga help you sort of move through it in a healthy way?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you my favorite yoga sutra. My favorite yoga sutra that I actually go to daily to deal with different people. It's the 4 locks and the 4 keys, and it basically talks about the 4 types of people and the 4 ways to handle those people. So the first one is a very obvious one. Like when someone is happy and joyful, you're joyful for them. And that's just a natural way to be. The second one's also kind of easy. When someone's less fortunate, when someone is struggling, you have compassion for that person. And that's pretty obvious too. That's what pretty much every decent person does. The third and the fourth ones are harder. The third one is about the idea of when it's actually delight in others' success. And it's the idea that when another person maybe in the same level as you is doing better than you, it's that idea of competition. When that person is maybe doing better than you, instead of looking at that person as competition or that competitive landscape or someone who's like trying to take a piece of that pie, you look at them without any attachment to yourself. So basically, I look at that person without judging how it reflects on me.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of like you can actually find joy for that person and really truly be happy for them without it being a reflection, any kind of reflection of myself. And when one person rises, then everyone rises. It's kind of that idea that we're all connected. So that's the third one. And I get so caught up in this one that I forget to talk about the last one. And the last one is disregard the wicked, basically. And it's basically when there's really toxic people in your life that are constantly toxic in your life, you have the right to say, I'm going to send you away with love. Like I want the best for you, but you're not going to be in this space right here. And that's okay too. So yeah, that's kind of how
that's like so. That's like 4.
Those are the 4
keys that you go by.
Yeah,
when there's a struggle with somebody.
And I go to that all the time. I go to those things and think, even if we all have those instincts to feel competitive or to feel like when someone's really hard to deal with. Like all of these things happen all the time in our lives, and it's nature and human nature to respond. So when we can take a step back and just pause and that whole pause we talk about, and just like really kind of hone in on what the true intention, what your true intention is, which is really to make all beings feel good and whole and well, and,
absolutely,
and everyone to rise, right? Like, don't we want that? So
yes,
yeah.
But sometimes it's hard when you're
it's
like caught up,
impossible,
right? When you're like caught up in it and you're caught up in the reaction, right? And I know that one of the most poignant lessons you taught me was the only thing you can control is your reaction. That's it. you can't control anything else. Like the way someone treats you, talks to you, like you can't control that, but you can control how you react.
100%.
Right? And at night, and I remember you said this one time too, you said like at night when you lay down your head, like you're only going to think about you and how you reacted. And you have to live with yourself, right? So like that's it. Just take ownership of that, and you're going to be able to get through it and still feel good about yourself.
That's exactly right.
Right? Even if it's a hard conflict, you have to say, how did I handle it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because that's what, like you said, that's what you live with. That's what remains.
When you lay your head down, you say, was I, and I love how you have the keys. It's like, was I compassionate?
Yeah.
Was I had non-attachment? Like, I guess like when I think about that, I just think like ego.
Yeah.
Like, did my ego kind of get involved, or was I able to sort of see past the ego?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's so hard.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
But if you have structure around it,
that's it.
Right? You can know like, okay, this is a shitty situation, and if I can handle it, if I can react in a way that I'm going to feel like I can lay my head down and say, I did a good job reacting. Yeah. Then you're going to be okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so your next question is, well, we talked about between like dealing with your own process and then dealing with between two, and then I guess the next question is like, how do you deal with sort of things that are happening in the world, like world conflict? Yeah. How does yoga help you deal with that? And we've had so much.
Yeah. I think, and I think you and I probably deal in a similar way. We're part of the world. We're, and a lot of people, and I remember a couple of places that I've been where people don't like to talk about what's going on, the injustices, things that are happening around them. They just think that yoga should be a quiet space that's safe and this kind of thing. And I understand that people shouldn't be bombarded necessarily with political conversations and that kind of thing. But I do believe that if you're burying your head in the sand when there's things that matter around you and you're ignoring what's happening around you, then that's not being a yogi. That's being irresponsible. So I do feel like it's our duty as people that see things that are beyond that acceptable in the world to engage in the world and to be part of it. And like so many of our amazing leaders that are activists that are peaceful, we move in that direction. We move with that intention of moving from a place of love and kindness. And there's been many times in the political landscape that I've had friends that have been on the other maybe end of the spectrum from where I am politically, and I can still love them. I can still see what I love about them without having it be that be the end of it. Although it is challenging, there are morals and values that everyone has that are different from each other. Yeah. But we have to somehow be able to lead from a place of love. Yeah.
And knowing we're all connected. It's not like the more othering you do doesn't make it better.
Right. I mean, I'm from I didn't want to be an activist by any means, but I am originally Palestinian, which is like in itself, like I say my name sometimes, I say where I'm from. And that initially is a hard thing to say because I get a reaction a lot of times. So just even from where I'm from, so that's been challenging for me all of my life, like being able to say, well, we're not all terrorists and we're not all this and we're not all that, and I need to be the role model that people see and say, oh, well, you're maybe the first Arab I've met that I've never met one before, that kind of thing. So that
you're
to me,
trying to dispel stereotypes.
Yeah, because I kind of grew up having having that be part of my landscape. Like I didn't have a choice. It was just, So but I always thought that I can talk to anybody if I lead from an honest, loving place, and I'm not angry towards any group of people or anything like that. If I actually lead from this is my story, this is my and I honor your story and whatever that is, then we should be okay, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, awesome. Yeah. All right. So what's the most difficult part of your practice for you?
I think it's the discipline of it. Like you have to be disciplined. This practice, if you want to get the benefits of this practice, if you
It's a
really
whole way
want
of life.
that whole holistic approach to living,
Yeah.
if you really truly want to really receive all of that,
Yeah.
you have to be very diligent about the practice. And the practice is not just the physical, like, doing the asanas. It's a lot of living the walk, walking the walk, and it's hard, and we're human, and we fail, and but the coming back and not quitting, the rest and not, and I call it, like, I have a little workshop I call rest and return. It's the idea of, like, don't quit, just rest, just take breaks, like, just be okay. Even if you F up, it's okay. We keep coming back.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't even know what the question was, but I went on some tangent.
The hardest part is the discipline of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Staying with, like, you have all the knowledge, but it's sort of like, what part of the discipline is the hardest part?
And I think also part of it is that, yes, I research, I read every day. I'm, like, obsessed with learning stuff, but it's that transition from the head to the heart, which is, they say, the longest journey, and being able to, like, live it and experience it rather than just know it. So that connection is really the most challenging too. Yeah. So I say the discipline and the really living the yoga, not just thinking the yoga, like living it. Like, it's challenging.
How do you get?
And I struggle with it. I struggle with it today. I struggle with it. I still eat meat. Okay, like, I eat meat, not as much as a lot of people, but I still do. And that is a struggle. And it's something that I'm kind of reducing and working on. I was a vegetarian for 8 years, but ahimsa is the number one. It's the number one part of the practice. So it's something I'm still.
What's the number one?
Ahimsa.
Yeah.
Which is non-harming. It's like the first of the yamas, which is the first of the whole path, the Eightfold Path. So number one tenet of yoga is ahimsa, which is non-harming, non-violence. So that applies to everything in life.
Yeah.
So
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
So it's work. It's work. It's work. We live in a culture. It's work. We are, so yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we do what we can, and we keep moving in the right direction of how we feel like is authentic to us, and everybody's journey is different, and no one can judge anybody, and we just have to keep following our own way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was actually reminding me of a conversation I had just had with Rachel, who I think is listening.
Is she here? I'm listening. Who's that? Rochelle. Hi,
okay.
Rochelle.
And she was saying how it's like, exactly like, you just have to think, like, it's not all or nothing. Like, it's like, have I done a little bit better than I have when I first started this journey, right?
Yes.
Like your journey when you first started 20 years ago or whatever it was, right? It was a long time ago. Yeah. Are you better than you were?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's not like this. It's like, okay, have you, made some changes? Have you had some successes? Yeah. Have you gone back? But you're in the right direction. Just like we said, the right path.
Incremental stages. That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see. My last question is.
Okay. Let's hear it.
All right. What is your relationship to spirit?
Oh my God. Oh God. I hope this is a quick one. I hope this isn't long. That's so hard. That's a hard one.
Because you were brought up like Christian.
Episcopalian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was brought up in the Anglican Church. And my parents, because I'm Palestinian, it was a British occupied. Anglican is the religion. So I grew up going to Episcopal churches, but what I appreciated about the Episcopal Church was that they were very liberal, and they were very, I had so many amazing experiences growing up in that church. My parents were very active, like senior warden, church choir, everything, and I went every Sunday, and the rituals, they were very comforting in so many ways. And some of them I found to be really backwards, and I didn't really get, and I used to question it all the time, but there was something beautiful about it too. So I really value the meditative aspect of it. I remember having to force myself to be still, and that was really hard for me back in the day. Now I'm like, can I be still? Can everyone leave me alone, and I can just be still and have my peace, like have like a little bit of meditation. But back then, no, not so much. But I've had many experiences along the way that have kind of shown me who I was and how I relate to spirit. I've never been a believer without questioning. I've always been a thinker that like kind of never,
Questions,
all the time. And I remember being one time in the Vatican, and I was in the big cathedral there. It's at the St. Peter's. Yeah. And I remember I was in this, and I had studied art history, and so I was like really into like the
Sistine Chapel,
everything about it.
Yeah.
But I remember that there was a little roped off service right in the middle, right at the altar, and it was roped off with these velvet ropes, and there was a whole service going on right there, and there were all these people watching this service, and I was around the ropes, and I was kind of observing the beauty and feeling the energy of this space. And I remember thinking in that moment, I was in my 20s or something, but I remember thinking like, this is where I belong. I don't belong in there, because that's not where I belong. I don't belong in the roped off area that's like all the devout believers. That's not me.
Yeah.
But I'm somewhere in this space between that velvet rope and this beautiful space with this like incredible art, I want to be in that middle space where I can kind of feel it. So, and maybe Christianity is part of my upbringing. It's part of who I am. But but I've really, really kind of moved towards studying Buddhism so much more and appreciating all of the wisdom traditions more than I ever had before. So I am starting to kind of look into different religions and listening and understanding ritual. When I was in India, I was doing all this ritual work with the puja, which is like how they worship every day, and everyone has a little tiny altar or a closet that they would go in every day and have this whatever their guru was. So their guru could be Shiva, it could be Brahman, it could be any one of the gods, but each family would have their own and really celebrate it. So every day there would be that ritual. So the ritual part of it was really beautiful because there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end, and there's like a whole work around that celebration. And I just think it's a beautiful way to do. So I have my own little ritual, which is coming down every morning and watching the sunrise, and that's my spiritual church. Yoga is my church, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm in that space between the dogma and the followers and the art in the background. I'm kind of in that weird space in between. I still feel that way.
Yeah, that's so cool because you're like open to be like, I can't commit to anything because I want to be open to all of
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I was thinking to end, do you have a mantra that you like to say when you are meditating? Or?
Oh gosh. Ooh, that's a good one. So yeah, when I'm meditating, you know what, to be honest, I use the simplest one. The simplest one is so hum, which is basically I am, or I'm being, I'm in my space, I'm here. So when you say so hum, it's kind of like the breath. So hum. And there's like, it actually reflects the breath so that you can actually use it as a nice meditation. But it's the simplest one. I use it all the time. I just kind of do it when I'm by myself, just sitting and I just need a couple of breaths. I'll actually use the so to inhale and the hum to exhale, and I'll give myself some quiet time just to have that.
How many times do you do like so hum? Just like for as many times as you need it?
I would do it probably 3 or 4 times, and then I would let the breath, I just kind of follow the breath. And then when my thoughts start to drift away, that's when I bring it back. I bring back the mantra. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. Oh,
so
it's a simple.
That.
It's so easy. It's a simple, easy, and you can follow the breath and you can say it. That's it. That's it.
Awesome.
So
well, it was so much fun talking to you, and I talk to her like every day, and I didn't even know all these little nuggets, and that's why I really wanted to interview because she's just a wealth of information.
Oh my gosh, back at you.
And so I'm so glad that we got to do
this.
I'm
so glad you inspired me to do it and to be here.
And thank you for everybody out there.
Thank you guys for watching. And if you guys have any feedback or recommendations, like we're happy to host. This Fireside Chat, we'll do it and we'll talk about any subject you want. And you can be part of it. You can be a host, you know, whatever. We would love you guys to be involved. So however you'd like. So any capacity.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining.
Namaste, everyone.
We will see you next time. And everybody practicing tomorrow. There's a meditation tomorrow night. So hopefully I'll see you guys.
Yes, meditation tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, now how do I do it? Oh.